Their counterparts in other parts of the world in observing this year's Eid-El-Kabir. President Buhari reinstates his commitment to ensure food security in Nigeria as he prays with other Muslim faithful in his hometown of Daura, Katsina State on Eid-El-Kabir. Former head of state Abu Salami Abubakar challenges leaders in the country to focus on advancing the nation's development instead of bickering. And Microsoft says it thwarted Russia's attempts to launch cyber attacks against US conservative groups. Russia denies allegations by tech giant.
On business news tonight, U.S. Energy Information Administration expects OPEC export revenues to rise to $736 billion this year, up from $567 billion recorded in 2017.
And on sports news tonight, the Nigeria Football Federation begins its preparations for the continental and international tournaments following the resolution of its leadership issue, which averted the international ban.
From Abuja, conflict resolution experts and religious leaders in Kaduna seek increased collaboration between Muslims and Christians to end ethno-religious conflicts in the country.
Muslims the world over are celebrating Eid-El-Kabir, a day set aside to commemorate the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to follow Allah's command to sacrifice his son Ishmael, who was later replaced with a lamb. Also known as the Festival of Sacrifice, Eid-El-Adha in Arabic is the second of two Islamic holidays celebrated annually worldwide and considered the holier of the two. The Greater Eid also marks the end of Hajj, the 5-day religious journey that takes Muslims to the Grand Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. The day begins with congregational prayers by Muslim faithful, followed by the slaughtering of animals, which could be a sheep or a goat. The meat is then shared among friends, family, and the poor. Now, Muslims around the world, especially in the Middle East, have been marking the day of festivities with prayers. From Saudi Arabia to Syria, leaders attend prayers and preach the message of love and tolerance.
Eid al-Adha, the Feast of Sacrifice, is one of the most important holidays in the Muslim calendar. It includes the pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca known as Hajj, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and supposed to be undertaken by every Muslim who can afford to do so. The 4-day holiday is being marked by Muslims across the region. In Amuzbrun, Gaza, hundreds of worshippers attended prayers in an open field event organized by the movement. More than 2 million Muslims from around the world gathered at Mount Arafat for a vigil to atone for their sins and ask God's forgiveness as the annual Hajj pilgrimage in Saudi Arabia reached its climax. On the first day of Eid al-Adha, they moved to the rocky plain of Muzdalifah to gather pebbles to throw at stone columns symbolizing the devil at another location called Jamarat. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad joined worshippers at a Damascus mosque for a prayer ceremony. This year's festival is the first since Assad's forces recaptured rebel-held areas of Damascus and southern Syria. In Afghanistan, as President Ashraf Ghani was speaking during an Eid prayer ceremony, militants can be heard launching rockets in the country's capital, Kabul. Ghani had declared a conditional ceasefire with the Taliban, but the Taliban insurgents have rejected the ceasefire offer and vowed to continue its attacks against the government and its foreign allies.
And here in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari joined other Muslim faithful at the Kofar Arawa Eid ground in his hometown of Daura in Katsina State to observe the Eid-El-Kabir prayers. The president had arrived in Daura on Monday evening ahead of the Eid festivities. He was joined at the prayer ground by the Emir of Daura, Umar Farouk, and other senior government officials. After the prayers, President Buhari performed the rite of slaughtering the symbolic Salah ram in fulfillment of his Islamic obligation. He also prayed for a bumper harvest to ensure food security, reduce importation of rice, and end smuggling. Our correspondent Gloria Umezoke reports.
The Emir of Daura with an entourage arrives to join thousands of Muslim faithful at the Eid prayer ground. President Muhammadu Buhari soon arrives amidst cheers to begin the prayers in his hometown. The Imam urged Muslim faithful to pray for peace and unity, as well as put aside all prejudices. However, the Emir of Daura expresses optimism about the president's efforts at stabilizing the country so far, but berated the actions of those he described as bad eggs among residents in Daura. President Buhari then moves to slaughter the symbolic ram to fulfill Islamic rites. The crowd surges as the president opts to walk to his residence instead of returning home in his usual convoy. The president conveys his message to Nigerians.
I wish them the best of luck. I hope the rainy season will be as good as the two previous ones, so that there will be plenty of food, so that we may even completely stop importation of most of the food items.
Presidential spokesman says the president's walk among his people automatically gave him a clean bill of health.
One or two people who are aspiring to be president are campaigning on their youth and good health. If people want to campaign against him, they should seek issues that are of importance, of significance to Nigerians. The president is fit, is healthy, is good to go.
Youth corps members in the state felicitate with the president at his residence, asking for support from the government towards the youth.
I personally spoke to General Gawan and thanked him for having the initiative to start the NYSC program. It's very good for Nigeria. So people from Port Harcourt, from Calabar, from Ogun State, from here, Daura, from Sokoto, from Maiduguri, will find themselves all over the country.
The youth corps members join other Muslim faithful to celebrate with the president here in his hometown, Daura, just as the president is reiterating his promise to improve on the nation's economy and security. From Daura, Katsina State, Gloria Umezoke, Channels Television News.
And Muslim faithful across northern Nigeria also gathered at various prayer grounds to celebrate Eid-El-Kabir. Some northern state governors used the occasion to pray for peace and prosperity of the nation. Our next report captures the Eid-El-Kabir celebrations in the northern part of the country.
Muslim faithful responding to the call for prayer as they gathered to celebrate the Eid-El-Kabir festival in the Federal Capital Territory. In Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, the Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki and the Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, were among the dignitaries and thousands of Muslim faithful who performed the 2 rakat prayers to commemorate the Eid-El-Kabir. In neighboring Kogi State, Governor Yahya Bello led dignitaries in the Central Senatorial District of the state to observe the Eid prayer at the Okene praying ground.
Let us be patient with the current administration, and let us be patient with Mr. President. Let us continue to give him support for the good job that he's doing. In the past, we used to celebrate Eid al-Mubarak like this, and everybody is afraid that bomb would detonate. Now it is a thing of the past.
The message of peace also resonated at the Yobe State Mosque, an Islamic center in Damaturu, as Governor Ibrahim Gaidam led members of his cabinet to observe the Eid prayer. However, in neighboring Borno State, Muslim faithful, including the state governor, prayed amidst security.
We pray to Almighty Allah to bless our land, to envelop our society in peace, harmony, and tranquility.
In Dutse, the Jigawa state capital, the chief imam of the central mosque led the prayers and called for an end to killings across the country. In Katsina State, Governor Bello Masari urged residents to continue to offer prayers for the development of the country. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, dressed in his traditional regalia, joined other faithful in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, for the Eid prayers. Muslims were advised to shun violence as the nation approaches the 2019 general elections. Peaceful coexistence was the kernel of many of the messages by religious and political leaders, and was also the case in Plateau and Nasarawa states.
We should not embark on bitterness to be the modus operandi. We should avoid rumor mongering, hate speeches, and fake news.
In Bauchi State, the Deputy Governor Alhaji Audu Katagum led government officials to join other Muslims at the Eid praying ground, while hundreds of Muslims, including the Kano State Governor Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje, observed the Eid prayer in the state capital.
I appeal to the people of Kano State to continue living in peace and stability, to ensure that Kano State is peaceful, being a commercial nerve center of the northern part of this country. And also I appeal to the entire people of Kano State to pray to Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari to give him good health so that he can continue to steer the ship of the leadership of this country.
In Kaduna, former Governor Ahmed Makarfi and other Muslim residents prayed at the Capital School praying ground. The high point of the celebration was the slaughtering of ram by the chief imam.
Meanwhile, some governors from the southern parts of the country believe that the expression of love is key to peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. They expressed this view at different Eid prayer grounds across the region, asking Nigerians to imbibe the lessons of the season.
It's the day for Muslim faithful across the world to celebrate the festival of sacrifice with prayer. In Lagos State, faithful gather to offer their thanks for another year. The message is of tolerance.
I enjoin them to continue to live in peace, peaceful and harmonious relationship amongst one another, which of course, if we can do that, will bring about prosperity for this state.
In Ogun State, the state governor, Ibukule Amosun, joins in the prayer. He believes the occasion is an opportunity to show love to all.
It's just like here in Ogun State, you do not know. There's no family. We see Muslims, Christians. You cannot even separate. Today when I'm coming, even some of our Christian brothers, they all followed me. That is the way it is. They were outside now waiting. When we go back home, all of us will celebrate. So and that is the teaching of Islam, that we should be submissive to God Almighty.
The Oyo State Governor, Abiola Jimobi, stresses selfless leadership as he prays with other Muslims.
Is godliness, service to humanity. I believe most sincerely that I have served humanity rightly.
In Ekiti State, the message of forbearance is preached.
The essence of this Eid-El-Adha is sacrifice, patience.
The prayer ground in Edo State, South Nigeria, is filled with Muslim faithful to mark the Eid-El-Kabir. In the southeast, as Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State celebrates with the Muslim community, he asks Nigerians to exhibit togetherness.
As we celebrate in this season of sacrifice, May we all continue to see one another as brothers and sisters for the good of our dear state and our dear country, Nigeria.
On a day like this, there is little distinguishing the elite from the ordinary man. Crowds disperse from various prayer grounds, embracing the word which the religion harps on: sacrifice.
In part 2, after the break, more of the Eid-El-Kabir celebrations. I'll be joined by Karik Imam Sulaiman Alagwe, live in our Abuja studio to examine the essence of the festivity. That's in a moment. Please join us.